NRL Fantasy round 22 is over, and it was a lot of pain for most coaches. So Herbie Farnworth went down. He was killing it. 45 points in 18 minutes, then went down with an injury. Isaiah Yeo, shoulder injury as well. He looks like he might miss a little bit of time here, going for scans. We've got Payne Haas out with an infection. Latu Fainu went back to the bench, scored 3 points in about 30 minutes. It's been a tough one. But look, if you did move up the ranks this week, you're in a good spot. So my side this week scored around that 920 mark. Jumped up ranks a little bit too. So from about 1200 to about 982 this week. So moving up in those ranks, but getting a bit concerned now about the injury tolls stacking up. Now I've got 4 trades left. It's about average. Top teams on average have about 3.7 trades left. So I don't know. I mean, I look at my side and, I feel okay about it. I've got, Payne Haas, Kai Pearce-Paul out this week. It did definitely test the depth out with those guys out. For this week, I'm thinking possibly Herbie Farnworth and Latu Fainu out for 2 guys around that 700K mark. But that's my team. Now let's go through some top scorers, and then we'll jump into game by game. So in terms of top scorers here, Big Jaden Campbell's number 1. Talk about him in that Titans game. Titans absolutely robbed in that one, by the way. I thought they deserved to win it, but Jaden Campbell, regardless, had an absolute cracker of a game, 103 points on the back of his 80-plus last week. Tony Staggs scored an 82, killing it. He can have that sort of day out every now and then, but just doesn't do it consistently enough for fantasy. Then Adam Dewey moved to halves in this one. And moving to the halves, he scored 82 points. We'll talk about him. He was one of the last games around as well. Isaiah Papali'i with a 76. It's Kamanu backing it up again. Keeps pumping out these big scores here. Fodawaker with Tino out, got that 70, but Tino could be back very soon, so I wouldn't read into that. Then Brimson, Verrills really strong as well. Donahue, 66, keeps on pumping. Big Joey Tarpanay back to form here with a 65. So him and McInnes there with that 65-pointer, as well as Jacob Preston too. And I'm just going to shout out a personal one. Cam Munster, 64 points. Pretty much all base stats here as well. Had those 2 try assists, but outside of that, 54 points in pretty much base stats there for Connor Watson. So good day out here. And I will just shout out Nathan Cleary as well. 47 points at halftime. I think it was roughly that. 40, it was something around that marker. Ended on 61. So stinker of a second half, but that first half was something to remember there. Now, jumping into games here. Sharks v Cowboys first. Really, we'll hammer the relevant guys. I'll go pretty quick on this and sort of talk about the relevant guys here. For the Sharks v Cowboys, there's not too many guys we're talking about. So Cam McInnes, the minutes, 52 minutes. Even though he scored a 65, the 52 minutes is not enough for Cam McInnes. So I'm going to say fade him. If you've got him in your team, keep him, but you're not buying him. Edwards, if he played 80 minutes consistently with Nanai going to center, that definitely helped him, but not really on my radar here. Braden Burns has this sort of day out every now and then. 200 meters run, 10 tackle breaks, had a try. It's 59 points here. For Noah Blake, Brayley, it's hard to read into, right, with Noah Blake. So he's had a pretty average few weeks here. The 58-pointer here was pretty strong, but it was a pretty quiet second half for Noah Blake. Overall, though, the stat line's pretty impressive. So you got the try and the line break there. You look at 28 tackles here, 3 missed tackles. You got 4 tackle breaks and nearly 200 meters run. No offloads there. I am looking for a few more offloads, but it was a wet weather round, so you can really overlook that. And the try he scored, nice early try running up Nico Hines. So for my side, that was a nice little booster. I'm not really saying that Fanil Blake is back just yet. 58 points for the try is still a bit low for what I'm hoping for, but look, it's nice to see a bit of a bounce back here. Blake Brayley, again, look, you're sort of looking for that 100 meters run. He's run that 53 meters here. No tackle breaks, no offloads there as well. A couple of try assists definitely helps, but you're sort of wanting that 100 meters plus from him. So 58 points here, you'll take that score to the bank, but if you want that if that pod's going to work out, right, you're looking for that big 100 meters plus. The big news here, though, is if you did go Brayley over Isaiah Yeo, you definitely won out this week, and you're probably winning out over the next couple of weeks as well. Mulatalo grabbed 2 tries and 55 points. Robson, 53 tackles, 54 points here. O'Donnell, Nico Hines. Hines scored that 50. Hines, it's frustrating because he looks like he's going to pop off for a big score, and he does the bare minimum to get to 50 most weeks. So, he's got a right fantasy, but just not quite popping those big games. And for Nico Hines here, I know it's a game where there's a lot of attack on offer. Cronulla basically scoring tries at will. And he comes out, he runs for 37 meters. He has 0 tackle breaks and 0 offloads. Now, he had that try assist, of course, to Adam Blake, but really, for Nico, it was a 50-point game without any attacking involvement or impact whatsoever on the fantasy stat sheet. So very, very disappointing from Nico, but does demonstrate the fact that he can go big if he can fix that up. So if Nico came out and, ran his 100 meters, had maybe a couple of tackle breaks and offload as well, we're looking at a score, around 70 points, and you throw in some attacking stats there too, and it just becomes a completely different game. So that's what I'm hoping for from Nico, but just not seeing it consistently here. Then we got Neem, Helen, Hess, Bateman. Yeah, look, down the list here in the 40s, not super relevant. Tommy Dearden got sin bin in this game, missed 10 minutes. That sin bin is -7 by itself. So that takes him to 50, and leave him on the field for 10 minutes. Let's call it a 55. So he really scored a 55, then minus that sin bin to a 43 there. So if you got Dearden, I wouldn't beat yourself up too much. He was scoring well even in a game where they got smashed, and I think he's going to be good for the run home. Then we got Kennedy, Ramian, Cotter. Yeah, look down the list here. No one's super relevant. Scotty Drinkwater at 25 points here. Didn't crack 100 meters. Didn't kick the ball much either. 53 meters kicked. It's a tough one. It's tough on with Drinkwater. He's got those big games in him, but he's sort of proving he's not super reliable consistently. The good news is the Cowboys have some good fixtures coming up, so you'd think Drinkwater's going to have some big days out, but yeah, this was a real flaw game from Scott Drinkwater. So I'm keeping him on my side. We can't sell the green dots right now, but he's not really a trustworthy guy you want to be starting in your 17 every week if you can avoid it. The issue is we have so many injuries that you're probably going to be forced to do it, and if you are, so be it. You just got to hope for one of those big games. Down the bottom of this list here, we got, Laybutt took the goal kicking in this one, which didn't help his fantasy score, but it definitely hurt my boy Drinkwater's. Purdue really quiet here as well, and Rob Derby went off injured in this game too. Now, ripping through to the next game here, the Tigers beat the Dogs, and lots to talk about fantasy here. This is one that it's perplexing, isn't it? You love to see the Tigers get a win, right? They've been through it. They've really been through it in recent years. So, as someone who knows a lot of Tigers fans, good to see them get a dub. Doggies fans, they're struggling a little bit lately. They've sort of fallen off a bit of form, and there's probably a bit of concern there about their form heading into the finals. They have the roster to get something done, so I think they can click. But yeah, this was not a great game from the Dogs. Now, in terms of fantasy production here, Adam Dewey's the first guy we've got to talk about here. 82 points, one of the top scorers of the round. Grabbed that try. 4 goals, a try assist, 12 tackles, 5 tackle breaks here in offload, 167 meters run, and did all the kicking with 530 as well. So for Adam Dewey here, I talk about Nico Hines, for example, before, and saying, that score bumps up to a bigger score if he runs the ball. So for Nico Hines, it was 37 meters run, no tackle breaks, no offloads. For Adam Dewey, it's 167 meters run, 5 tackle breaks, 1 offload, right? So very, very different sort of stat line there. That's a big impact there. It does lead to that try as well. Had the try assist there, doing the goal kicking. But for Adam Dewey, it's a crazy role he's got here, because if we scroll down, we find Jerome Luai. Here we go, right down here. 18 points for Luai. Luai had his 42 run meters and 41 kick meters. So Luai's kind of not really showing up at all on the stat sheet. I don't know. We know what Luai can do, right? We've seen him lead on the international stage. We've seen him dominate for Penrith, but it's sort of getting tough to defend Luai's form recently, because I don't feel like he's really throwing that much at oppositions. And in this game, he didn't have really any excuse here. Like he sort of took a back seat to Dewey, which is interesting to see how they play that going forward. So for Adam Dewey, look, crushed it regardless. He's a decent option if you do want to consider someone at center. But Tigers have a bye this week, so you're not going to be jumping on this week. For Preston here, grabbed a try. Other than that, regular Preston sort of game. 31 tackles here, 4 tackle breaks, 2 forced turnovers, bit of a booster there, and 109 meters run. So for Preston, he's going to score tries. That's part of his stat profile here, right? So, we love that, but 65 points here, reasonably solid. He's going to keep on rolling back-to-back 60-plus games, so I'm pretty happy with him. Samuel Ofinu grabbed a try and 55 points. Terrell May, this is a shocker. And we talked about Terrell May a bit during the week as someone that, we weren't super excited about as a captain option this week. The minute's been fading. He's very dependent on tackles, and we've seen those other stats and that impact sort of falling off a bit in recent weeks. And in this game, what I noticed was Terrell May was getting driven back a lot in his runs. So that's where I sort of think, Terrell May has been fantastic this year, but I think he needs to play less minutes. It's sacrilege to say, I know, in fantasy circles, but if he played 55 to 60 minutes, I think he'd have a much bigger impact. And I just think we're not seeing that explosive Terrell May. Last year we were seeing Terrell May come on and score doubles for the Roosters and scoring tries. And he's playing with Happy Coruscant here, who's a great hooker, one of the best hookers in the game, and setting up his props there. And he scored 1 try this year. So I think we're getting too much workhorse Terrell May and not enough explosive Terrell May. And I think if the Tigers are smart, they're going to realize that at some point and make a change. Maybe they don't have the depth right now to make that move, but I would forecast this for next year, and I would say his minutes are going to drop off. They're going to drop into that sort of 60 to 65 bracket potentially next year, and he's not going to be a guy we're jumping on fantasy right away next year. So with Terrell May, just keep an eye on that there. In this game here, it was 40 tackles, no tackle breaks, 1 offload to ground, the 1 forced turnover, and 133 run meters here. So yeah, look, 49 points in 70 minutes, a little bit concerning. Probably... I've been captaining Cleary the last few weeks, so I've been pretty locked in on that. But it definitely brings Terrell May back to the pack, and I still think Cleary is probably the number 1 captain going forward. But it opens up things for Payne Haas more as well. So when Payne Haas comes back next week, if he's fully fit, definitely a conversation to be had there. Terrell May is not set and forget be a captain this year. Then Coruscant 48, Max King 47. Fainu, look, 47 points in 67 minutes. Pretty sweet there from him as well. Big score from him. Down the list here, Twala Buller. Karaz with a 40, grabbed that try. Beast mode try there. But for Karaz here, you've only got the 3 offloads, 4 tackle breaks, 170 run meters here. Grab the try. He's better on the wing. That's and it was a wet weather game, right? So you can't really read into it too much. But he's just so effective on the wing. I will say, though, I think his stats have been quite similar playing wing versus fullback today. He just he gets through his work no matter where he plays. So for Karaz, I think it's not really a big impact, him playing fullback, but it probably does make try scoring a bit harder for him. Then Hughes, Curran, Hayes, Skelton. Yeah, look, Matty Burton grabbed the 31. He was on -1 at halftime, made a big line break in the start of the second half, boosted his score, but 31 points, very disappointing there. Stephen Crichton was a bit of a pod people looking at, had 2 try assists in this game, still ended with a 29, so pretty shocking. Kickout, 26 points. We talked about him as being a very attacking stat-reliant guy. This was the downside of that sort of stat profile there. Reid Marnie with a 24, 29 tackles, 24 points, just not enough minutes there with 46 minutes. Zeri Twala, Galvin. Galvin. Galvin got a 21 in this game. Look, just not a game where it went Galvin's way. Really wet weather footy. The Tigers dominated. They dominated. They took it to the Dogs and they brought the heat. And the Dogs were just sort of trying to play, dry weather footy and trying to run around and all that. And they just weren't ready to rumble in this game. And we saw it a few months ago. So really early in the season, the Dogs went up to Brisbane up against the Broncos. At that point, the Dogs were on an absolute tear. Best team in the comp at that point. And Brisbane was sort of really off the pace there. And the Broncos absolutely decimated the Bulldogs in the wet weather footy as well. So I'm just starting to think that maybe wet weather footy isn't, where the Dogs excel. But Tigers brought the physicality, and it shut Galvin down in this game. So the stat profile here, not great. 64 meters run. You've got 88 kick meters there. 0 tackle breaks, 0 offloads, 15 tackles made. To his credit, only 1 missed tackle there. But it's not ideal. This is just a game where he didn't get his run meters up. That base wasn't there. The attacking stats weren't there. The Mayo stats, tackle breaks, all that sort of thing, weren't there either. So if you think the Tigers are going to be bad for the Bulldogs are going to be bad for the next few weeks, then Galvin could fall off a bit. But if they return to form and there's a bit of dry weather, Galvin could be red hot. So, I'm probably going to be forced to play Galvin or at least use him as an 18th man in coming weeks. But look, I did say last week was sort of the last week to be buying him. Like, the appeal of him was that he was in the 400s there. So very, very cheap option. And with that cheapness does come a bit of volatility. Now, Seyfarth down the list. Taylor May, 19 points here for him. Jerome Luai, completely off the pace here for fantasy. Salmon, Taruva back to the wing. Good enough work rate, but just not a big fantasy score there. Pole only 33 minutes here. Hayward, Hunt, Rinikama. Rinikama 10 points, even with the line break there. Latu Fainu came off the bench here. it was unclear. I was watching this game. It was a bit unclear sort of what he was trying to do here. But for him, 3 points in 34 minutes. He got 6 tackles, 1 miss, 19 run meters. There was a bit of hope here from some that he might go back into that ball playing lock role and replicate that form from earlier in the year where he was pumping out big run meters and he was very explosive through the middle. Unfortunately, we didn't see that. Now, going through Seagulls v Roosters next, and this was a stinker of a game. A lot of the games this week were absolute garbage, and this was definitely one of them. But look, if you look at this list here, the top 9 players in this game, one is a Manly player. the other are all Roosters here. So it was pretty much one-way traffic for the Roosters, but only one player cracked 60. Connor Watson got a 62. It started bad with Connor Watson playing the first 23 minutes of the game off the bench there and then jumping onto the field. Nice little line break assist where he broke a tackle, threw an offload, got the line break assist to Tedesco. Teddy found Sam Walker. Sam Walker set up Gus Crichton. And Gussie Crichton's the next guy here, 56 points. So look, for Connor Watson, Gus Crichton, if you have them in your team right now, you don't sell them. Like, they're guys that you're going to keep. But if you don't have them, they're not convincing. Like, they're really not convincing. And I've got both of them in my team, and I'm enjoying the scores. You know, they were pretty good here, but they have not been convincing for me at all. So, yeah, I don't mind having them, but yeah, 2 forced turnovers for both of them, right? That's an additional 8 points. It usually doesn't pop up in a fantasy profile. For both of them too, Connor Watson, 45 meters run, Gus Crichton, 77 meters run. Again, not ideal for these boys. Sam Walker with a 50, big attacking stats again, so I'm not reading into it too much. Nafahu White, 47, Toya with a 44. You know, we're already in the 40s here straight away. Takiaho, Collins, Lenu. Lenu playing bigger minutes, not the biggest. Like last week, he played bigger minutes than this, but 41 points in 40 minutes. Good PPM from him. Only 31 meters run is a little bit concerning there. Savala with a 40 as well. Gerbo, Egan Butcher. I mean, Noani Tawase, a 35 here. There's pluses and negatives in this one, right? So obviously he had the try assist. That was off a kick where he batted the ball back. But for him, 116 run meters is a little bit low. 6 tackle breaks is pretty solid there. Just not having those big attacking plays where he's scoring tries and that kind of thing. And that's sort of what you're waiting for there. So again, if you have him, you're probably stuck with him, but you're not super convinced. Jazz Tabanga with a 35 here. Waddell, Wong, Tupou. Yeah. Lodge went down in like the second minute and then bounced back up and kept playing. Jimmy Tedesco. Oh, man. I don't know what to say about Tedesco. I'm finding this one really tricky because he's been off the boiler for the last couple of weeks. And yeah, the scores haven't been great. And if you look at the stat profile here, there's a lot of the right stuff going on. So 150 meters run is a little bit low, but in those conditions, not too bad. 5 tackle breaks is, again, a little tiny bit low, but it's sufficient. Got line break there as well, but then you end up with the 31 points here. So I guess no tries, no try assists, no offloads there, but it just hasn't been Teddy's day, or Teddy's month, really, the last month. I'm thinking he's going to bounce back, and, obviously we don't have the trades to sell him, but if I didn't have him in my team, I wouldn't be rushing out to buy him. That's kind of how I view about Tedesco. Then we go down. DCE was a bit of a pod that was floated around by a few. 31 points there is a disaster. Tommy Turbo, 31 points here, had that try assist, but played a lot of fullback in this game. So the tackle count was down to a 7 in this one. He unfortunately didn't, alleviate that with more stats elsewhere. 117 meters run, 2 tackle breaks, no offloads. So there just wasn't that boost elsewhere to make up for the lack of base stats. Turbo is much better when he plays center for fantasy. Billy Smith, Radley, look down the list here. No one really we're going to talk about. Iolu started in this game. Fiketti and Garrick, we'll talk about them. For Fiketti, it's over. 18 minutes here, 17 points. PPM was absolutely fine. Fiketti, I like him as a player, but he's done. As soon as he moved to the bench, that's where he was on the cells last week. He's just not a PPM guy for bigger minutes here. Admittedly, he did PPM in this one, but his PPM isn't going to work if he plays even 40 to 50 minutes. He's just not going to be good enough. So move him on. Ruben Garrick, 14 points here. Nearly scored that try. Very marginal forward pass. So nearly heated up. He's got one more tough matchup against Canberra, and he has a pretty easy run to finish the year. So if I had Garrick in my side, which I didn't, I sold him right after Origin because I saw this run of fixtures and just thought, nah, stuff that. But if I had him in my team now, I'd probably hold on. Canberra's a tough matchup, but after that, it gets a bit easier, and he's going to score some tries. Now, down through the next game here, Dragons beat the Raiders. Crazy. Joe Tarpanay, top scorer here. 67 minutes is the big story here. Now, there was an injury to, I believe it was Mariota, who had to come off for a HIA, and Tarpanay went back on with about 20 minutes to go. He was coming back on for an injured player. So I guess there's a question of whether he would have come back if there was no injury at that point. So maybe that boosted his minutes a bit. But regardless, he played the first 40 minutes of this game. So we're in a spot where maybe there's a bit of a bounce back for Tarpanay. For him, 50 tackles in this one. So big defensive work rate, 4 offloads, 135 run meters, no attacking stats, no tackle breaks. 65 points. That's ideal. That's great. Joey Tarpanay can score a few tries too. So, I think for the run home, we're in a pretty good position if you do have Joey Tarpanay. But if you don't have him, the Raiders have that bye coming up pretty soon, so you're probably not going to be jumping on. Now, Tomoko, 2 tries. A few of you guys jump on the pod there. It's worked out pretty well the last month. Tomoko's been red hot. Damien Cook with a 59 here. Big defensive work rate in the wet weather conditions. Starling with a 50 down the list here. Clement DeBellin. Hudson Young, a bit lower with a 44. Again, a very base stats heavy game. Hasn't had that flash recently. 40 tackles, 44 points. That tells you the full story there. Luciano Leilua played big minutes in a 44. Molo with a 44 as well. Talked about him as a bit of a pod this week. It's very base stats heavy, 44 points in 80 minutes for him. Josh Papali'i played only the 44 minutes for 43 points. Hosking moved to the middle a bit. 41 points from him in 58 minutes. Then down the list here, Flanagan. King Tonga was good enough in this one. His base stats are improving every week, King Tonga, but just not enough to be a really relevant fantasy producer. Corey Horsburgh, the stats have fallen off a cliff the last couple of weeks. He has not matched that PPM from the start of the year. Then Sully, Stewart, Fogarty. Man, what do you do with this? 28 points for Fogarty. It's a 28 that includes a try. It's a 7-point try assist. Sorry, try assist, not a try. So that takes him down to about a 21 if you take out that try assist, right? You got 5 errors, 4 missed tackles in this one. That's a minus 18 in negatives. You got much lower kick meters as well, so only 346 kick meters. Just a bit of a weird game for him and for Canberra, and a lot of those errors were on plays where he was probably going to put a kick up as well. So, yeah, I just think you can't really read into it too much. If you have Fogarty in your team, you just kind of got to roll with this and just say, wow, that sucked, and move on. Canberra aren't going to be beaten by St. George in the wet most weeks. So Fogarty should bounce back and come good, but yeah, it was an absolute howler from him. Then down the list here, KO Weeks, you don't chase the points, and this 26 is proof of that. Alan Strange, Gutho with the 24, Sasangi, 32 minutes here, 24 points. And no one else really we're going to talk about here too much. So I'm going to squeeze Xavier Savage, Jed Stewart, really quiet for those guys there as well. And Tyrell Sloan managed a 0 in 80 minutes. So that's always impressive when a guy comes out and plays 80 minutes, scores 0. For him, 41 run meters here, 3 tackles, 1 missed tackle, 3 errors. So the 3 errors to 41 run meters ratio is particularly impressive there. Now, Titans v Panthers, 26-30 in this one. Titans nearly got the win up. Just trying to find the Panthers trainer on this list, and because he would have had the try saver as well on that goal kick. But look, Jaden Campbell killed it, 100 meters and 100 points in this game. Stat line here is fantastic. Obviously, there's a full field intercept try in this one that boosts the run meters here, but you got the try, 3 goals, 2 line breaks, 20 tackles, 1 miss, 11 tackle breaks here, 240 run meters, 417 kick meters. This was fantastic, and I'm not going back to the ref stuff and all that, but I really do feel like Jaden Campbell's performance in this game, he did deserve a win, and I wish he had this as a highlight under his belt because he played lights out footy. He was unstoppable in this game, and if that was a game where he led a comeback, from 20 odd points there against the Panthers, and he played like that and they won, man, career highlight there. That would have been just one of the best games of his career. So sucks for him that he didn't get the dub, but he's in sensational form right now. And if you've got Jaden Campbell on your side, then you are cheering about that too. Now, down the list here, by the way, if you don't have Jaden Campbell, he's still a buy as well. He's always going to be a buy. He's a great option. We love him in this channel. I've had him since round 1. I did sell him for a while, bought him back, but big JC believer. Papali'i here, 76 points for him, 56 tackles. That's really the story there. Fodawaker playing 65 minutes, scored 70 points. You've also got Jolliffe, who played 56 minutes and scored 58 points. While Tino's out, those guys are getting a big boost there. Brimson with a 69 here. Big attacking plays here. 2 try assists, 200 meters plus, 11 tackle breaks. Massive game from him. Sam Verrills grabbed the try on top of 50 plus tackles, scored a 68. Cleary with the 61 here. And the stat line is ugly. It's ugly. So the big thing that jumps out at me here is 9 missed tackles, minus 18 points in missed tackles. So you got that minus 18. You got another couple of errors there as well. You got a penalty. So we're looking at minus 24 in demerits. Take those off. It's an 85. With them, it's a 61 there. 2 try assists in this one. Had that field goal. A couple of goals there as well. But yeah, no tackle breaks, no offloads, and 56 meters run is very low from Nathan Cleary. So I don't know, is there cause for concern? Maybe. Isaiah Yeo going out of this game. It did roughly time up with Cleary really slowing down and scoring. I don't know if we can make a correlation and say that Cleary can't play without Isaiah Yeo, but we'll have a look at that this week, especially when we talk about captains. And I'll look at the correlations there and see if there's any connection between Isaiah Yeo being there and Cleary playing well. But I think he's still a decent option going forward. And they got a bit of a scare in this game, so he'll keep the heat up. The issue is Blaise Talangi is playing better footy in recent weeks, so he's going to steal more of those stats. Now, Lindsay Smith with a 60, and look at this, it's all 60 plus here. So that's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players, 60 plus. Absolutely massive fantasy game. Brian Kelly got a 60 as well. Joel Firma, both Firma with a 54 here, very base stat heavy, predominantly the 42 tackles and 150 run meters is the big thing there. Then down the list here, who else we got? Brian Toll, he got a 45. Look, it's a 45 with a couple of line breaks there, but could have been a pod you looked at. Dylan Edwards, 43, bit of a crash back to earth, 43 with the try there, but still a solid performance if you have him. Then Campbell Gillard, kind of meh. Blaise Talangi grabbed 2 tries, only 41 points, so it's not really converting to fantasy production. Isaiah Yeo, 34 points in 52 minutes here, picked up that injury very early, definitely impacted him. 34 points, 32 tackles, that's the whole story there. Then Henry Paxton, look, Jenkins grabbed a try in this one, Tango with 24. No one else really to dig into here, so we'll keep on rolling through. Now, Broncos v Bunnies, and man, I feel for you Bunnies fans. Like anyone who's rooting for the Bunnies, I saw a graphic of their injured team versus their current team, and the injured team would lap the current team. Like, it's crazy, and the guys who are out there for the current team, they're giving it a crack, man. Like you can see, especially at the starts of games, in this Broncos game, they held the Broncos for a long time in this game. And I think they had a couple of players injured in the first 20 minutes. And I don't know, I thought they played tough. Like I don't know. It's hard to shout out a team that conceded 60 points, but I thought they gave it a lot. So, if you're a Bunnies fan, don't be too harsh on the guys you had out there. But when it comes to fantasy, there's no sentiments. There's no soul, no heart in it. But in that regard, we're looking at a list of Broncos here, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The top 9 players here are all Broncos jerseys. Lockie Hubner will be the first South Sydney player we look at. So for the Broncos here, going down the list here, it's Katoni Staggs. You got Cobbo, Mam, Mariner, Ricky, Carrigan, Hunt, Walsh, and Reynolds. And based on that list, you can tell there's quite a bit of attack going on. Between Katoni Staggs, Selwyn Cobbo, Ezra Mam, and Dean Mariner, we had 7 tries scored between those 4 guys. We had 6 line breaks between those 4 guys. And across the group of them there, we had 22 tackle breaks as well. They all pumped out big meters there. So basically, it was just a big attacking day, for the edges, for that half, and Ezra Mam as well. For Ricky too. They had a big day out. Then down to Pat Carrigan, 66 minutes here with Payne Haas out. But, had the try assist there, but just didn't really need to do that much in his role. Like his role doesn't really expand when the team is running and they're on the front foot. So he would have, for fantasy, probably preferred a bit of a closer game. Ben Hunt got 54 points in 62 minutes, which is nice. But I don't know. It's 54. Like, look at the stat line, right? It's 1 line break. You got 3 tackle breaks there, an offload, forced turnover. But then the meters, it's only 30 run meters there. So, when you're sort of doing such low volume, sort of attacking work, it's tough to expect this kind of production across the board most weeks. So I think Ben Hunt's going to be really, really inconsistent. And I think this was, unless he scores a try, this was more towards the ceiling of his scoring production. Reece Walsh with the 54. He got very, very lucky at the end. So if you're a Walsh owner, you saw him making that last play, threw that pass. It was probably about a half meter forward at least. But, there's plenty of those that don't get called, right? So it didn't really matter in the context of this game. But Walsh threw that, and then he got the ball back in the next play and scored that try. That definitely bumped the score up. But outside of that, it was an interesting game. It was very... I know I've been pretty high on Walsh, especially through this run. I thought he might heat up here. 81 run meters, and that's on the back of a few big plays at the end as well. So it was really looking like about 30 run meters for quite a bit of this game. The production on the ground hasn't been great for Reece Walsh, and if they have some tougher games, he's still looking like that guy who's going to score you a 30, quite a bit of the time. So, yeah, if you're a Walsh owner, again, he's a bit unreliable, but you're sort of forced into starting him. But if you can loophole him as much as you can, do that, because he has big games in him, but I think he's going to have some quiet ones too. Reynolds with the 53, nothing to read into here. Then down the list here, Lockie Hubner, again, played tough, played his hardest, 45 points, grabbed that try. Adam Ward with the 42 is pretty impressive here, mostly defensive work rate from him, so 33 tackles, but yeah, you got to respect it. Also, that 33 tackles, 1 try saver and 1 forced turnover. So that's 42 points of defensive production for a 42 score. Then a few negatives there and a few attacking plays as well. Then Hetherington, Arrow. Yeah, Ewan Aitken with a 35. Just wasn't involved in this one. Ewan Aitken, sort of lower defensive work rate there. 23 tackles, 75 run meters. He had the try assist, which definitely helped the score, but 35 was a bit of a disaster there. Isaiah Tass, Ben Tolty, Jensen, Jai Gray. Again, a bit quiet for Jai Gray, but 171 run meters, 7 tackle breaks is a good sign for him. They have some easier matchups coming up, so I think Jai Gray will heat up over the next month of footy. Then Dodd, LeBlanc. LeBlanc's been an okay cash out, 34 points in 38 minutes. Talis Duncan scored that try off the Ewan Aitken pass there for a 33, though. So, again, a bit of a disaster to starting him. And down the bottom, Bentley Hape, 21 with a try. You're not playing here too much. Tyrone Munro came off the bench in this game and played in the forwards. So, bit weird though, seeing Tyrone Munro came on, played in the middle forward rotation, while Talis Duncan was still out at center. It's a very strange sort of coaching rotations play there. And Ryan Gray, he picked up that injury, so only played the 8 minutes there for 7 points and 7 tackles. So people were thinking maybe his heroics continue, but unfortunately not. Now, Warriors v Dolphins, and yeah, this is a tough one. I'm going straight to Herbie Farmworth. 45 points here. It's 45 points in 18 minutes. He had the try, he had 3 line breaks in 18 minutes, 5 tackle breaks, 129 run meters, an offload. Oh, if you captain Herbie, which 6% of top teams did, then you were off to a flyer. And I just want to say you nailed it. You got it exactly correct. You got that call spot on. And you got unlucky. So, yeah, it happens. I wasn't a Herbie captainer, but I was rooting for you guys. You took a gamble with the center captain. You got it right, and you got a bit of bad luck. So, yeah, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But yeah, rough way to start the round. He did a pretty bad hammy. So look, they're still confirming scans, but to me, it looked like it's going to be something that makes him irrelevant for the rest of the fantasy season. I would say he'd be lucky to be playing finals this year. Then Kurt Donahue, 66. He keeps on pumping out numbers, 58 tackles, 100 meters plus run. You love to see that. Marshall King grabbed the try and the 64 points here. Kurt Capewell back into the back row, scored a 61. Now, he's not normally that kind of producer, but hey, look, if you are desperate for a center, he's 345K right now. When he plays in the back row, he can average around that 40 marker. So not the worst play. Not the worst play as a depth piece. But if he plays at center again, totally hopeless for fantasy. Oren Keeley grabbed a try and 60 points here. Aaron Clark with a 58 here in 64 minutes. Bit of a bounce back there. So the minutes production for Clark is a big uptick. If you're a Clark owner, you're definitely looking at that and going, thank God. Because last week it was 50 minutes, 50 points. So back to 64, 3 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, 200 meters run. Looked fantastic in this game. So yeah, Clarkey should be back to those minutes. Fisher Harris obviously being out definitely helps him as well. Martinez Lesniak, the roller coaster continues. 58 points here, 2 tries. This is why I liked him as a bit of a cash out, by the way. This is why I was advocating for him. As a loophole guy, he's going to have those big days, he's going to have those quiet days, and you've got to be able to loophole him 100%. Then Jackson Ford with a 53. He was red hot, and he really cooled off down the stretch. Avrilo, 52. Halasima grabbed that try in a 50. Healy, 238K. 60 minutes, 50 points here. 100 meters run, 38 tackles, 4 tackle breaks, 2 offloads. The dude is baller, man. This guy, Sam Healy. Like, if he can get some minutes at some point, he will be a fantasy ace. Katoa with a 49 here. Try assist. 27 meters run. Like, that's the big concern here. The minutes are sort of the meters are starting to fall off for Isaiah Katoa. So that 27 meters there, if you're a Katoa owner, you're not loving it because it's meaning a drop in stats across the board. No tackle breaks there, very low offload count. Still doing all the kicking, still scoring decently, but you want to see those meters getting back up to about 120 if you can. Then we get on list RTS, Herbie Farmworth, our boy. Tough one. Hammer, solid with the 45. Tawa played 62 minutes for a 43, which included 45 tackles, so really base heavy there. Tamari Martin, 42 and 80 minutes, showing us what he can do. Then down the list here, Lemuelu Osako, Tuapiki. Yeah, look, not super hot to talk about. Tanner Boyd did all the kicking in this game, but scored a 27. That 27, if you look at it, kick meters there was 14 points. The goals, another 6, so that takes you to 20. So he had 7 points, including a try assist for 5 points there. 8 missed tackles for minus 16 is brutal. And down the bottom here, Nickel Clockstar, really quiet, 21 points. Not else really to talk about that's fantasy relevance. We'll keep jumping through. And now ripping into the Eels v Storm. Final game, then I'll just talk about my trades for this week. So for the Eels v Storm, very Storm dominated. Top 5 scorers were Storm players. The Para side were reasonable in this game. They sort of, I don't know, they kept it close, right? 10-16. I sort of felt like the Storm were always somewhat in control in this game. It felt like they were, just a little click away from running away with this one. So, Parramatta played hard. They played tough. I respect the hell out of it as a Para fan, but the Storm sort of had this one, I think, in the bag. So, yeah, in terms of fantasy production here, Toka Manu, 54 minutes. He's been averaging massive scores when he plays 50-plus minutes. 73 from him, 10 tackle breaks, 200 meters run. Can you trust it? No. But is the upside there? Absolutely. Cam Munster with a 64 here. 2 try assists, both off kicks. So that's 10 points there. Outside of that, you got a 54. It is made up predominantly of defense. Again, 32 tackles, 2 tackle breaks, a forced turnover, 75 meters gained, and 520 kick meters. Now, that kick meter stat there is a little bit unexpected, actually. I thought it might be split a bit more evenly, but that's a bonus. Yeah, he's going to kill it in fantasy if he keeps producing that sort of kick meter count, especially if he can stop giving away 4 bloody penalties in a game. -8 points for 4 penalties. Like, what are you doing, mate? Come on, Cameron. Cameron, I need you. I need 70+ mate. So yeah, if he just gave away 1 penalty, I'd get a 70 out of him. But anyway, not a bad target. The issue is they can rest guys down the stretch, and they have Jonah Pezzett on the bench. So you could jump on Munster if you want. I'm on, right? So I'm obviously a fan, but it's a bit risky. It's a bit risky at this stage of the year, but not a bad shout. Then Eli Katoa, 57, grabbed that try. That really boosted the score. 160 run meters though too, so you're very encouraged by that. Harry Grant with a 52. It was not a convincing 52 whatsoever. Really, really didn't like that performance for Harry Grant in terms of fantasy. And it sucks because I was super high on him this week, and I was sort of really pumping him up and saying he's a guy that he's going to switch on. Like when Jerome Hughes went off, he really started to dominate with that running game. What we saw in this game was 29 meters run, 0 tackle breaks, 0 offloads. 3 forced turnovers actually is what propped his score up, and a try assist there too. One of the easiest try assists you ever see. So you take those plays, that's about plus 20 points there. If you had those out, you're looking at about 30. Like that, it was a really quiet game from Grant. And what we saw a lot was him just not running the ball, and even towards the end, a few times like trying to milk penalties instead of sort of running the ball. I don't know. I thought we'd see that really electric Harry Grant because he can do it. He can walk out any given game and just totally dominate. So, yeah, if you got Grant in your team, you're hoping for the best, but you're prepared for the worst. I would say, though, he should be solid down the stretch. Like he'll step up. I still do believe that, but I'm going to have a chance to buy him this week, and I'll let you know if I'm putting my money where my mouth is on this one. Then Josh King with a 49 here. Jack Williams a 48, relatively solid here without any special flash. Blore, Hopgood kept those minutes up with a 43. Pappenhausen a 42 without big attacking stats there, so reasonably solid. Down the list here, Geimer grabbed a try. 12 missed tackles for Charlie Geimer, minus 24 points in missed tackles. If you take that off, he's looking at 62. 12 missed tackles, minus 24 points. Like that is just absolutely massive. Tyron Wishart, again, pretty quiet here. Look, he hit a number of the numbers that you want there. So for Tyron Wishart, 338K, you're getting very cheap. 100 meters run, very low kick meter count, about 150 kick meters there. 1 tackle break, no offloads, 28 tackles made. Just didn't have that big attacking play in him and didn't really make a lot of space. Now, it was a very wet weather footy game, so I would say for Wishart, it's the kind of game where it doesn't really suit him, right? He's a smaller guy, he's very quick. On those dry weather games, he's going to be absolutely fantastic. So I wouldn't be worried if you bought Wishart. He's going to be solid down the stretch. Adokar, 37. Kami Kamitha, got a try there, 35 points. Nick Meaney down to a 34. And down the list here, anyone else want to talk about Howarth with a 30? Moses at 29. He's getting nice and cheap for next year. The average now is a 43, so he's going to be real cheap for next year. Zach Lomax, fallen off the wagon a bit here. So 28 points, had that line break, but no tackle breaks, 172 run meters there, the 1 goal. Yeah, if you bought Lomax as a pod, you're very, very concerned now. And this is sort of what I talked about, right? Like, I don't know, if you want to buy an attacking stack guy in a bottom side, it can be very risky. Down the bottom here, Moretti, Chan, Dury, De Silva. De Silva looked a bit better, 50 minutes here, 23 points. It's 23 points on the back of 31 tackles, though. So we're going to need to see a bit more attack from De Silva if he's going to be useful. Josh Papali'i didn't crack that 100-meter mark, so a bit of a bounce back to earth there, but 3 tackle breaks is reasonably solid. He'll have better days as well. Again, the wet weather, not ideal for him. Now, in terms of my moves this week, I'm going to have a few problems to deal with. So positives, I'll have Kai Pearce-Paul back this week from bye. I should have Payne Haas back from infection as well. So KPP is already sitting in the 17. Payne Haas will come in most likely for, let's say Isaiah Yeo, right? So Isaiah Yeo most likely to miss 1 or 2 weeks with this injury. So I'll take Yeo out, I'll bench him, I'll keep him. Then I also have Terrell May on a bye there. So let's say I take Terrell May out for Adam Fennell-Blake. I need to replace him on the bench there. It's going to be Tommy Turbo comes into that spot there too. So as of that moment, I can fill a team without trading. I then have Herbie Farnworth as well, and he's going to have to go. So it's probably going to be a case of Herbie Farnworth going out for me for both Firma, I would say. Now, if we're looking at both Firma here, 653K. Herbie's about that fire, 870. I got 50K in the bank as well. Let's call it about 250K remaining. So I'll move him for Firma. I'll have 250K in the bank. Probably move Latu Fainu. Let's call him 400. Let's be a bit generous to ourselves. So I'll have about 650K to play with, basically. So at that point, with 650K, I'll be rolling down this list, and I'll be looking at Harry Grant's that 650. Adam Dewey. no, I can do that. Then down the list, forwards there, kind of meh. Trey Evans, Aiken, Barlow. Yeah, I'll need to find someone I like in this group here. Maybe Pappenhausen, a bit of a pod there, just load up on the Storm. I'm not going to do Jolliffe with Tino back soon, but I'll have to look through this list and find someone that really jumps out at me. And right now I am struggling. Wow, this is not convincing. Not a convincing group of players, I will say. So anyway, I'll have to sort that out, but that's where I'm at. Probably going to be both Firma coming in for Herbie Farnworth, and then possibly, if I need to, Latu finding for another guy. I could also just keep Latu and keep the cash and potentially just run Turbo in my 17. I'll have to have a look at fixtures next week. So that's what I'm thinking this week. I've got 4 trades left. I'm either using 1 or 2. I'm going to keep it nice and low. I think you guys should try to use as few trades as you can too. Just look at what you need for your 17. That's the big play there. And if you can maximize your 17 without too many trades, that's ideally what you want to do. All right, cheers, guys. Good luck this week. I will see you on Buy, Hold, Sell. Obviously, Teamless Tuesday as well. Peace, everyone. You have a good one.